Julie, how long have you been painting?
Oh, well, ever since I was very tiny.
And what experience have you had in artwork?
Well, I come from Melbourne, and I did a 2-year course in Melbourne of art.
We'll have a look at some of these paintings of yours, Julie. Before you begin an abstract, do you have any idea of what the finished product will look like?
Well, I have an idea what I hope it's going to look like, but, you know, it's just more or less a design of pleasing colours, you know.
Julie, do you prefer abstracts to other forms of painting?
Well, it all depends whereabouts that these paintings are, really. You know, it has to be bold and concise if it's to be in a shop. And I do portrait painting and other sorts of painting too.
Do you intend to further your career in the art world?
Well, yes, competitively, and also mostly for pleasure. I like it very much.
Mr. Reddy, how long have you been with the company?
Oh, approximately 6 years.
And where were you before then?
I've worked in 3 branches, Stockton, Bullaroo and this one.
And would this be the biggest store in the Newcastle district now?
It would be the biggest suburban shop in the Newcastle district.
I think most people associate stores of this nature as a place to suit the needs of women shoppers. What have you for men?
Oh, we have hardware, electrical goods, plugs, fishing rods, menswear, trousers, sports trousers, suits, sports coats. A good range for the men.
Did you assist with the layout, the planning of the store?
I was one of several that helped to lay out the shop.
And what special amenity would you say there was in the modern planning for the customer?
We have a angle parking up on the side of the building for our own customers, and also a car park which would hold 100 vehicles.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the very express purpose of having this branch opened in such an auspicious way by Mr. Boo. And at this stage I have very much pleasure in calling upon the Lord Mayor, and in doing so extend to him very hearty congratulations on receiving the re-endorsement of the people of this city in his successful recent election. At this stage, ladies and gentlemen, the Lord Mayor, Alderman Purdue, and I'd like him to respond to the welcome on behalf of the visitors. Alderman Purdue. On behalf of the visitors who are here this afternoon, take this early opportunity of extending sincerest and heartiest congratulations to the store on this further very, very worthy addition to their establishments in the Newcastle district. I'm sure that all of you who have inspected these premises, whether it be a cursory glance or a detailed inspection, will agree with me that they are magnificent, that they are typical of the development and progress of this city, and that they will cater in a very splendid way for the needs of Wall's End and surrounding areas. Might I congratulate the Wall's End people on this establishment. It is certainly a wonderful acquisition to the commercial and business premises and the facilities which are being improved so vastly and so rapidly in this western part of the city. I'm sure that this fine building is merely symbolical or typical of the vast development and progress and improvement which is taking place in Newcastle at the present time. It is an indication of the confidence which is held very correctly by the directors of the store on Newcastle's continued progress and advancement. Its spaciousness gives some illustration of the expanse and extent of this city and district, and its very fine embellishment gives, shall we say, some idea of that beauty and grandeur and embellishment which we see progressively in this city.
Haddo, Mrs Haddo, my Lord Mayor and Lady Mayoress, Mrs McCartney, Alderman Neal, members of the board of the store, distinguished visitors and ladies and gentlemen. First of all, Mr Haddo, might I just express my deep gratitude that the invitation which you and the directors of your board extended to me to come here this afternoon and officially open this store. I am sincere in expressing that appreciation because my family have had a very long association with the store, and my late father was president of the CWS for New South Wales for over 40 years, which is more than my span of life at the moment. And I did very much appreciate the gesture, and I felt that it in turn was a reflection in the esteem with which the movement held my late father. May this venture be the forerunner of further expansion, that your faith in Wallsend and in the cooperative movement in this area is fully justified, and that every effort that you have put into bringing the cooperative movement to all the suburbs, it bears fruit. And I have a great deal of pleasure, Mr Haddo, in declaring this Wallsend store officially open, and have much pleasure in cutting the ribbon. Thank you.
that was the hardest job of the lot, putting the eaves up. And that's like long strips of foot-wide fibro, and hold them up underneath. So I didn't have a slice idea how to do that, so we got ropes. And I put the nails on the guttering with hooks, and then put the ropes up through inside the house, and Jean sat inside the house and pulled the ropes up for me while I was holding them up. And then I found out I couldn't nail into fibro and hardwood stand upside down, you see. So I thought we'll have to get over that, so I screwed them all in. And I think this is the only place in the country that's got screws in their eaves. Well, I'm very interested in a little charity, the Disabilities Unlimited, and they supply free transport for all disabled people to hospitals and all that sort of thing. So if they've got jobs and to go to and they can't travel by public transport, they we supply them with vehicles, you see, which is would help them a lot. The average person can't afford to have a taxi, like if they're just on the pension.
Roy's the Vice President, and I'm on the
Vice
committee.
President, James.
Well, we have a lot of
and we have a lot of social
activities. You know, we car trials and parties, and generally enjoy ourselves, which is a good idea. You know, get together and always see people worse off than yourself.
Oh, well, I think that for any blind bloke that wants to amuse himself and do something that'll benefit himself, to give it a go. Try anything. You can do all these things if you've got plenty of patience and you don't want a few sore fingers and that sort of thing. I often miss the nail, you know. And
I think it's amazing what you can do if you really try, you know. And it's
yes, trying. Most blind chaps are a bit nervous, like the starting the thing. But they'd all find out that once they got going, they'd conquer things like I have. I get on all right. I don't let it worry me now. I used to. The first few years I was blind, I let it worry me and got me down a bit. But I find that I might have another 20 or 30 years to go yet, and I've got to put up with it, so I'll make the best of it.
Sir Alistair, what in your view is the significance of the Hunter Valley Research Foundation to this area?
Well, I'm terribly interested in the work the foundation is doing, not only in relation to this area, but setting a pattern for national works in Australia of a similar nature, because the result of research here, much of that will be of great importance in the forward thinking for other great schemes that Australia must face up to in the next few years.
Is there anything similar elsewhere in Australia?
I understand not, because most of the places have their eyes on this foundation, looking to the work that is being done here to supply them with the basic information.
Looking at this from the point of view of development nationally, what other parts of Australia are interested in similar ideas to this?
Well, of course, you think immediately of the Great Vertigan River scheme in Queensland, and some of the other big irrigation schemes yet to be developed in New South Wales. And they are places that will be of great importance in future development, but of course will be based very largely on much of the work that has been done here. You see, the study of what happens when rain falls and waters run is of great importance. And up to date in Australia, there had not been up to the time of the Foundation's work in Hunter Valley, there had not been a very intensive study in that direction.
Of course, there's a great deal of research going on in a number of different fields now on the use and conservation of water, is there not?
Oh yes, and that's most important that it should do. One of the great studies that will take place is the storage of water. And then, of course, what does one know? Perhaps with this ploughshare operation that we hear so much about in the atomic age, that may completely change the complexion of building dams and storing water.
So what exactly is the significance of the Hunter Valley Research Foundation in the eyes of the state government?
Well, first of all, I think it's a magnificent concept. As you know, first inaugurated, I think, about 1958 or 59, but it started off in 1959 for the purpose of research into the potential of the Hunter River Valley, which also includes, of course, Newcastle, in which the state government is interested and, of course, is heavily subsidising the foundation and is cooperating in that financial burden with many of the big firms here in Newcastle and in the Hunter River district. But more than that, it has also the foundation, the cooperation, in addition to the state government, all the various instrumentalities, such as the CSIRO, the Atomic Energies Commission, the Electricity Commission, the Coal Board, the Water Conservation Commission, the industries, the heavy industries and the steel industries here at Newcastle, and the other industries, too numerous to mention. The universities of Sydney, New South Wales University, I think Armidale too, I'm pretty well certain, and also the University College here, no doubt. And they're all contributing the sum total, and they've got much to inquire into to increase perhaps the production of the rural industries here. They can also inquire into automation and, if I might say so, also into future needs, such as a future university and medical school here.
You mentioned a future medical school, Mr. Sheehan. What are your personal views on the possibility of Newcastle having a medical school?
Well, I think it will come. I personally am in favour of the third medical school being established at Newcastle. Since I've been Minister for Health, I've had a survey made after the second medical school was inaugurated and established as a result of the Murray Commission. I've had a survey made here, and there is the clinical material here which is missing from some other portions of the state, which would provide the nucleus of the third medical school. That survey showed completely that there are sufficient hospitals here to supply those needs, and in addition, of course, a very important matter for Newcastle would be that it could be associated with a closer study of those diseases that arise from the mining industry, and perhaps also the incidence of air pollution from the heavy industries and the steel industries in this area.
And in your official capacity as Minister for Health, what can you do, or what are you doing?
Well, I'm not in charge of universities as such. As a matter of fact, universities are not under my administration, but I have recommended that a third medical school be established at Newcastle. My personal opinion only, of course. The government doesn't necessarily accept the personal opinion of a minister. Otherwise, I'd be getting a lot more money for hospitalisation and hospitals even in the Newcastle area. I want more money if I can get it.
I want to tell the gathering something about the ways in which nuclear energy might be used in places like the Hunter River Valley to do the things that at the present moment one wants to do but are too expensive and too difficult to do, like water conservation, building dams, building harbours, and also, of course, providing industrial power.
And there will be practical uses for nuclear energy in this way then?
Oh, very much so.
And when can we expect to see this change in power source becoming of practical use?
Well, it's already, of course, being used in some countries like Great Britain and beginning being made in Europe and in America. But I think it'll be some years, perhaps 20 years, as long as that, before it is significant in the Australian scene.
So, Mark, you're from the National University in Canberra, of course, and some of us are not familiar with the exact function of that university.
Well, the National University was founded about 11, 12 years ago as essentially a research university, a place where research was carried on and where people who were going to do research were trained. It has since had added onto it an undergraduate side, the School of General Studies, which is just like a normal university.
And exactly what are your responsibilities at the university?
Well, I'm responsible for what's known as the Research School of Physical Sciences, which contains astronomy, mathematics, theoretical physics, nuclear physics, geophysics, the physics of the Earth, and particle physics, the physics of these particles of which matter is made.
No doubt in this age we live in we can expect some surprising developments in these fields.
Oh, I think so. I think all of them will show surprising developments, particularly astronomy, I think, and geophysics.
Why do you say particularly astronomy?
Well, because the southern skies, which we have above us here, are virtually untouched by astronomers. All the large observatories in the world are in the northern hemisphere. And the southern skies, particularly the southern part of the Milky Way, which is the main part of the Milky Way, our own galaxy, the group of stars to which we belong, is visible only in the southern hemisphere. And also the two closest outside galaxies are visible only in the southern hemisphere. They're called the Magellanic Clouds and are rather near the Milky Way.
And what plans are in hand then for further exploration of these areas?
Oh, we're setting up a large extra mural, as it were, observatory near Coonabarabran in northern New South Wales, and to take advantage of a better climate than we've got in Canberra for observing the skies. There's too much cloud in Canberra. And we're also looking forward to great developments in astronomy in other parts of Australia.
As a layman, why is it important to us that we should know about the stars and the things beyond the stars?
Well, this is one of the things I hope to say something about this evening. You see, the stars are the most common form of matter that exists in this universe. Solid matter, such as we have on the Earth, is relatively rare. The study of the heavens of the stars gives us information about matter which we cannot get on Earth. And this is extremely important for the development of our knowledge of the way atoms and particles behave.
So, Mark, we're very interested at the moment in Newcastle's university, or as it is at the moment, University College. In your opinion, how should this be developed?
Well, I feel quite strongly that Newcastle ought to go all out for an independent university of its own, devoted entirely to technology. I'd like to see it called an Institute of Technology rather than a university, simply in order to keep the record clean, as it were, so there'd be no pressures upon it to develop into a full-scale university teaching everything from languages to medicine, say.
So, in effect, you'd do away with the arts faculties altogether at this university?
Oh, no, not necessarily. I think they'd be there, but because I think that it is necessary in any institution of higher learning to have a leavening of these other subjects. So I'd like to see the main emphasis in a place like Newcastle on technology. A Newcastle Institute of Technology, which in time could become as famous as the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the United States, as Caltech, in on the other side of the United States, or as the Technische Hochschule in Europe.
Thank you very much.